Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's frightening bear attack, we take a trip to Grand Prairie, Ontario, Canada. This is an area surrounded by forests with the main trees being elder. It is known for its economy being based on agriculture, forest products, and tourism. The city is surrounded by farmland to the north, east, and west. To the south lies a vast boreal forest with aspen, jack pine, and black spruce. Bear Creek goes through the city from the northwest to the southeast and is a tributary of the Wapiti River to the south. The typical animals of this area are skunk, wild boar, wolves, and bears. Chris McClellan was a 32-year-old avid outdoorsman who moved to the area with his wife and son on August 12, 2007. One of his favorite activities was bow hunting, and Grand Prairie was the perfect place to do this. On August 15th of that same year, Chris decided to go out hunting by himself. He was dressed in full-body camouflage in order to be discreet. Chris had spent hours searching but didn't find anything. So he decided it would be a good time to walk back to his vehicle and call it a day. He hadn't packed any bear spray, or was he in possession of a firearm. His only form of defense was a 12-inch hunting knife and a camera. Just before the sun started to fall, Chris was walking through a small field when he was approached by a huge grizzly bear, which was only about 50 yards from where he was. As the grizzly bear and her cubs started to walk closer, Chris began to yell. Shortly after, the sow started to charge at him. With Chris knowing that running from the bear was out of the equation, he pulled out his knife and decided to stand his ground. As the bear got within 10 feet, Chris spread his arms out in hopes of getting the perfect stabbing form. As the bear began to run into Chris, he swung the knife with all his power. The bear was not fazed by this, and instantly began to strike with its paws while on top of him. Chris, who was seriously injured by this time, proceeded to stab the bear. After the third swing, Chris noticed the bear started to grow weak, with the knife no longer being in his hand anymore. It was stuck in one of the bear's arteries. Soon after, the bear ran off into the forest and its cubs followed. Chris then started to get back up, but the bear had came back. It instantly rushed over and knocked Chris onto his back. Once again, it began to bite Chris, but his will to survive overrided the attack. He repeatedly punched the bear with both of his arms, even kicking the bear from the ground up, with the effects of everything kicking in, no pun intended. The bear scattered off into the forest. Before the bear could even get deep into the brush, Chris noticed it collapse. The bear's cubs stayed nearby, and Chris, who felt sorry for them, decided to stay in the area while he called authorities. Once authorities arrived, they were amazed at the fact that one man could do such a thing. But Chris was still seriously injured. After being transported to the hospital, the doctors had to put stitches in his left arm. The bears were left to fend for themselves out in the wild. The attack was because, while on the trip, Chris wore a mask and the bear considered him as prey. It was teaching its cubs how to hunt. The Canadian Rockies, in particular, are a high-risk area for bear attacks due to the enormous population of both black and grizzly bears. According to the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, Ontario experiences an average of 10 bear attack incidents per year. According to statistics, there were 140 reported cases between 1982 and 2018, resulting in 17 fatalities. Of those cases, approximately 60% involved grizzly bears, while the remaining 40% involved black bears. With this story in mind, I have a few questions for you. Do you think the now deceased bear's cubs will survive out in the wilderness? Why do you think the bear began to charge at Chris? And would you visit this area? Feel free to leave your answers in the comment section down below, and we will be glad to meet you there. Thanks for watching, and remember to always be careful out there in bear country.